god. You guys. You guys. Oh my god. So it goes without saying that Rogue One was awesome. This movie was totally worth it. And if this is the level of quality we're going to get from the rest of the Star Wars anthology films, then I am all for it from here on out. Yeah. So before I go any further, I am going to say that this is a spoiler. This is going to be a very spoiler-heavy review. This is going to be a very spoiler-heavy review. I will say that the film, if you don't want any spoilers, real quick, I will say that the film does have a few pacing issues at the beginning, but once it gets past that shaky first half, excuse me, it does really kick in with the emotion, and the action is beautiful. Gareth Edwards really knew what he was doing with this film, and the characters are great. Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso was awesome. Every character was great when you saw them. Ben Mendelsohn, who played Krenek in here, is a great villain because he's not like a mustache-twirling Imperial. But he kind of is. But at the same time, he's trying to prove to everyone that he created this. I will also say that, and I don't think this is a spoiler because I think if you know the film, then you probably weren't expecting much. I will say that if you're looking for a lot of Darth Vader action, don't expect it. He's not really in the film that much. Oh, he does get to talk, and trust me, he does get to do stuff, but don't expect a lot from him, you know. But when he does show up, it's worth it. I will say that. When he does show up, it is totally worth it. And this does tie in beautifully with A New Hope. So, anyway. So there you go, guys. That is my non-spoiler review real quick. And I'm going to move on now to the spoiler review. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds if you don't want to be spoiled to back out now. Okay, I'm guessing if you're still here, you've seen the movie or you want to be spoiled. Man, where do I begin with this film? Like I said, the characters are all great. Felicity Jones, his character is Jyn Erso, excuse me. Mads Mikkelsen as her father, Galen, which is funny because we already had Galen Marek from Force Unleashed, no longer in canon. Alan Tudyk as K2. He is awesome. Trust me, you will really love this character. But at the same time, like, he's a cool character, and a lot of people agree that he's a lot more fun than C-3PO. At the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I already got a cool droid. 000. If you've read the Darth Vader comics from Karen Gillan, then you know who I'm talking about, of who 000 is. And the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, you're funny. But at the same time, I'm like, kind of, like, you're like a more toned-down 000 K2. Yeah. But regardless, he is a lot of fun. Donnie Yen's character is a lot of fun as well. He is awesome. That opening scene between him and the stormtroopers is amazing. It was so cool to see him. And I really like how in this story we are getting the Force, and this is very much so in The Force Awakens, that it feels like the Force is being treated like a religion, not just to the Jedi, but to everyone else in the original trilogy, where the Force was meant to be like a thing to be worshipped and, you know, practice in a way. And that's what I like about Donnie Yen's character and his companion, who the actor's name I've forgotten, but the two of them are really great together. They're a lot of fun. All of the characters, I will admit that, you know, that some characters do get a little under the rug for certain other characters, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you couldn't do all, but yeah, it's a little difficult to say. It is cool. It was interesting to see Saw Gerrera in here, and seeing how far he has fallen from, you know, the time we saw him in Clone Wars, and now he's literally like Forrest Whitaker. His version of Saw Gerrera is like one of the more older, just totally out of his mind, and the more darker version of the Rebellion. And trust me, the Rebellion does do some shady shit. Like, there are some points where, like, the Empire, the Rebellion wasn't as squeaky clean. So, yeah, that was interesting to see, like, the darker side of the Rebellion, and this is treated like a full-on war movie. This puts the war in Star Wars. It is a very brutal film. It is a very there are some brutal scenes in here. There are some brutal war scenes in here, and it's I don't know if I would recommend the kids to watch this. Honestly, I mean it's a PG-13 film, but I don't know. Like there's some brutal scenes, especially towards the end. But that final act was great, and this is what I think Gareth Edwards, and one of his strong suits, and he brings it here, is that he is so good at scaling. Like, there are some wonderful scenes of when you see the Death Star, like, come into view, or when you see the AT-ATs just come, the AT-ATs just come, just smashing their way in. And there are some other scenes involving X-Wings and the new U-Wings, that are just like, it makes you feel like you're in the cockpit of these ships. And yeah, Gareth Edwards is so good at doing those kind of visionary kind of looks, and it feels so hyperkinetic and so in your face, but at the same time it gives you a lot to look at. Like it's yeah, he is Gareth Edwards is you can say what you want about Godzilla, but there are some wonderfully shot scenes of Godzilla. And he brings that kind of level here, but on a even bigger budget I think he had with Godzilla. It's a very just fun movie, and Gareth Edwards clearly had a lot of love for Star Wars, and he put so much into this. There was a lot of talk of making it fun and adventurous, and trust me, there are some fun adventure elements. But no, when Gareth Edwards and the rest of the cast said, yeah, this is going to be a dark war film for Star Wars, they weren't kidding. they were in no way kidding whatsoever about that assumption. You do get to see Tarkin. I will admit you will get to see Tarkin. But keep in mind that, you know, they're bringing back, they're not recasting him. They're kind of doing like CGI / motion capture in a way. And it's a little jarring at first, but you get used to it. My one complaint is that I wish they got Steve. I don't know if that was Steven Stanton or not. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I could be wrong. But I was kind of hoping they got Steven Stanton. If you don't know who Steven Stanton is, he is a voice actor who primarily does Tarkin. He did Tarkin for Clone Wars, and he does Tarkin for Rebels. And he sounds like dead on, like at some points, really just dead on Peter Cushing. I don't know if it was him. And then, well, I'm not saying the person they got to voice Tarkin was bad. I'm just saying, like, man, I kind of wish Stanton did this. But yeah, and having him play off of Krenek was a lot of fun. Seeing, you know, Krenek, like I said, he's a villain, and he's a good villain that you love to hate. But really, at the same time, you kind of pity him because after everything he's done and everything he intends to do with Death Star and everything he wants to do is swept under the rug by Vader and Tarkin, and he is totally undermined again and again. So in a weird way, you almost pity Krenek in some cases that, you know, he is the underdog. You know, even though despite everything, he is still like under the thumb of Tarkin and Vader, and there's a beautiful moment where he mouths off to Vader, and Vader's just like, you were saying? Yeah. But yeah, there's also some great Easter eggs for Episode 4, like, I really don't want to spoil one, because even I wasn't expecting it. And it's not the one, if you've seen the movie, it's not the one you think. It's a lesser one. It does connect to New Hope. I will say that it connects to New Hope. But I don't want to spoil it because I wasn't expecting it. Trust me, when you see it, you'll be like, oh my god. And it's not the one you're thinking. It's in earlier in the film. Trust me, you'll laugh when you'll see it. But yeah. All the characters are very much a lot of fun, especially, Diego Luna, I think that's the actor's name who plays Cassian. He is a very interesting character because he's done a lot of dirty shit for the Rebellion. Like, you see him do dirty shit at the beginning of this film, and Felicity Jones has a great moment of, don't look, I don't care about it. The Empire's like, even, I don't care what happens. And Saw's like, even if there's Imperial flags flying over your world, she's like, I don't have to look up. So she's very much like out for herself. But after seeing what her father has done, she's like, oh shit, what was I thinking? And it's kind of cool to see the rebellion, like, still, like, not seen as, like, the perfect guys. They were, they did some shady shit for the against the Empire. And seeing them together in, like, because remember, if you remember that opening crawl, this battle that got them the Death Star plans was their first major victory. This was their first kind of victory. Victory's a strong word. But yeah, this was their first major win, and that's saying something, against the Empire. And to see them, like, most of the Empire, when the Rebellion discovers the Death Star plans, they're like, what? No, fuck that. You also have to understand that this is a film that is a kind of sequel to a film that, it's a prequel, not a sequel, a prequel to a movie that came out in 1977. So, there are certain things they had to take out or replace, obviously with Tarkin, bringing back Tarkin in a way so you have to suspend your disbelief for a lot of it. But, all in all, I do think it was cool. It was jarring at first when you first see Tarkin in that kind of way, but you get used to it. You kind of get used to it. And again, it's doing a setup for a film that came out in 1977, so you have to give it some leeway, right? Like I said, the pacing and some of the characters get swept under the rug. That's really the only problem. And it's minor nitpicks at best, because everything else, the action, the storytelling, just the grit of this film is just beyond beautiful for me. It's a wonderfully put together film, and, it really, like I said, it really puts a lot into my faith into these Star Wars anthology films, because if I was like, man, if Rogue One doesn't do well, how well will the Han Solo film do, right? So that's kind of the thing here, is that I'm, after seeing Rogue One and how amazing Rogue One was as a film, I'm totally on board for whatever that, whatever they have planned in the future. I am just totally on board for whatever. Because now with Rogue One and how well the storytelling was, and how well this ties, because it ties in perfectly. Like, this ties in perfectly with New Hope to a degree that even I couldn't believe. Like, I wasn't expecting how they did this, and I was like, God damn. But, keep in mind, I will say, keep in mind that, you don't see there's a reason you don't see these characters again. I think it goes out saying that you probably figured out why. And prepare to feel, if you don't get attached to these characters, is what I'm saying. Don't get totally attached, but I feel like that was the perfect way of having it end, having the chapter close, because this is a one and done film. This isn't Rogue 2. If you want to see a sequel to this film, go watch A New Hope, because, yeah, this is the build-up for it. So, this is just a great film all around. I highly recommend it if you're a Star Wars fan. Of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to go watch it and love it. I still can't get over how amazing this film was, and it's a beautifully well done film. Just bravo, Gareth Edwards and everyone else a part of this. Actors, cast, crew, everyone. It's just a masterfully done film, well done film. So yeah, I really don't have much else to say other than, go see Rogue One, like, right fucking now. Anyway, so, yeah, just, tell me what you guys thought of the film. Just please don't spoil the film for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Please don't put any spoilers in the comments below. Just please don't do that. But yeah, just tell me what you guys thought of Rogue One. Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.